The old cowboy wasn't the man he used to be. His hair, once bright as a summer wheat field, had faded to steel gray at the temples. His face carried the deep, weather-cut lines of a man who had spent his whole life under the open sky. He lived alone now, on a ranch pressed up against the rolling Wyoming hills, where the grass grew thin and the nights were ruled by the lonely howl of the coyotes. Most days, the only creatures he spoke to were his cattle. And every morning, as he drank his coffee beside the fire, he wondered how long a man could live in silence before he forgot the sound of his own voice. 20 years earlier he had been a different man, entirely sharp-eyed, lightning quick with a gun, tough as rawhide in the saddle. And it was back then, during a brutal conflict between settlers and the Apache, that his life had been truly tested. He still remembered that day clearly. He had ridden straight into a burning village, black smoke pouring over the hills like a storm. Among the chaos, the gunfire, and the screams of dying men, he had found her, a tiny Apache girl, trembling under a broken wagon. Her small body shook violently, her dark eyes wide with terror. She clung to him with desperate strength, sobbing against his shirt while flames roared around them. Against every rule, against every warning, he carried her to safety. He left her at the edge of her people's territory, where he knew they would find her. Then he rode away without looking back. But the memory had stayed with him like a half-buried nightmare. Some nights he woke certain he could smell the smoke again, certain he could hear her faint, frightened whisper of "Mama" echoing through the fire. He never learned what became of her. He just prayed she survived. One slow spring evening, while he was mending a piece of the fence line, he heard hoofbeats approaching. At first he figured it was some drifter passing through, but the sound grew closer, steady, purposeful. He turned, his hand settling instinctively near the revolver on his hip. A woman rode out of the setting sun. Her back was straight, her posture proud. Long black hair hung in intricate braids threaded with red cloth. Her buckskin dress bore the detailed patterns of the Apache people. She dismounted with quiet grace, her dark eyes locking onto his with a depth he hadn't felt in decades. When she finally spoke, her voice was soft but solid as hammered steel. "Cowboy," she said steadily. "I've come to marry you." He blinked, certain he heard her wrong. "What?" His voice cracked from too many years of silence, her chin lifted. "I am the girl you saved 20 years ago." The sunset framed her face in gold. "They called me lost, but you found me. You carried me through fire when no one else would. You gave me back my life. And now I have returned to give you mine." The cowboy's breath hitched. He studied her features, older, yes, but unmistakable. The same dark eyes that once stared up at him from beneath that wagon. The same fierce spirit, now grown into the stunning strength of a woman. "I never expected—" he began, but the words died, because what he saw in her gaze wasn't gratitude. It was a vow. For the first time in 20 years, the silence of his ranch cracked open not by the wind, not by the coyotes, but by destiny itself. He stood frozen, one hand still gripping the barbed wire. "You don't mean that," he muttered, almost pleading. "I was just a man doing what any man should have done. You don't owe me your life." But she shook her head. "You don't understand my people. In our stories we say, when someone carries you through fire, your soul becomes tied to theirs. When I was little, I made myself a promise. I would find the cowboy who saved me. I've carried that promise my whole life. And now I'm here." He swallowed hard. Her eyes burned with a conviction more powerful than any weapon. "You have a tribe," he said gruffly, "a family. They won't like this. They know." Her tone didn't waver. "Some tried to stop me, others called me foolish, but I follow my own path. I rode across desert and canyon for weeks. My feet bled. My horse nearly fell. Still, I came. Do you truly believe I traveled all that way, only to be turned away?" Her words hit him like a hammer. He could see the dust caked on her dress, the calluses on her hands, the exhaustion buried in her voice. She had not arrived lightly. She carried the weight of all those years behind her. He turned toward the hills, now painted blood red by the low sun. "People in town will talk," he murmured. "A white rancher and an Apache bride, they'll spit. Maybe worse." "Let them," she said, her chin rising. "They don't know what binds us. They didn't see the fire." If they spit, I'll stand taller. If they hate, I won't break. My heart belongs to no one's judgment. Her strength made his chest ache. Because she wasn't asking. She was claiming the bond she believed fate had written for them. And even though he felt unworthy deep inside, a part of him ached for everything she offered, a hand to share the silence, a presence to chase away the emptiness. He met her eyes again, and he didn't see the terrified child clinging to him. He saw a woman who had crossed mountains, deserts, and decades, just to keep a promise. And in that moment, he understood destiny isn't something a man can outrun. Not even on the fastest horse in the West. If you enjoyed this story, please hit that like button and subscribe for more tailies from the Old West. Thanks for watching.